Pro-Chancellor, I present to you Clare Amsel for the award of Outstanding Alumna of the Year. Clare is a distinguished member of an alumni community which numbers 100,000 members in more than 160 countries across the globe. As we recognise Clare's professional achievements through this award, we also acknowledge and celebrate the wider success of all Lancaster graduates, wherever they are in the world, and the important part they continue to play in the life of our university. Born in London, Clare Amsel graduated from Lancaster with a degree in religious studies in 1979. Over the last quarter of a century, she has built a successful career as a senior practitioner in the management of major events. Most notably, she took a leading role in delivering the ceremonies at 2 Olympiads, as senior coordinating producer for the opening and closing ceremonies in the 2004 Games in Athens, and as producer of the Paralympics opening ceremony during last year's London Olympics. Clare's route into events management was a result of a passion for travel. She started her working life post-Lancaster with a 2-year stint teaching English in Buenos Aires, and a desire to put communications at the heart of her career. On a return to the UK, she received an early introduction into experiential marketing, known then as industrial theatre, an area of marketing communications which aims to enhance a brand's profile through the creation of memorable events. After learning the ropes of her chosen profession, Clare spread her wings and took on more senior roles, subsequently rising to lead companies in the UK, Greece, and Belgium. She was invited to join the organising group responsible for the ceremonies at the Athens Olympics on the back of this. Her roles in Athens and London were both high-pressured and high-profile, leading diverse groups which delivered design, technical, operational, choreographic, musical, audiovisual, cast, costume, and scenic aspects of the events. There was little or no room for mistakes, no second chances in these live celebrations of the host country's sport and culture. Coordinating a cast of thousands, which would have taxed the production skills even of the Hollywood pioneer Cecil B. DeMille, was, in Clare's words, tremendously challenging, but literally thrilling. Clare has described herself as open-minded, proactive, diligent, and very determined, qualities which stood her in good stead for the challenges involved in mounting events enjoyed by a live audience of 80,000 and which, through the medium of TV, reached a further 4 billion people around the globe. It is only a slight exaggeration to suggest that the eyes of the entire world were on Clare's work. Prior to the London Games, Clare commented in an interview, "My one wish is that the world is stunned, that they look on this ceremony and just think of it as the most amazing thing they have ever seen." Both the press and public responses to the ceremony suggest that Clare's wish was achieved in the most memorable fashion. A further acknowledgement of Clare's expertise in this field is her recent appointment as the senior producer of the opening and closing ceremonies for the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. She begins work in her new role tomorrow. The range of Clare Amsel's achievements over the last 2 decades serve as a reminder to all of today's graduates of what they themselves may aspire to achieve and one day attain with commitment and dedication. The successes of our growing community of alumni will add to Lancaster University's reputation as a world-class centre of teaching and research. Pro-Chancellor, it is my honour to present Clare Amsel for the award of Outstanding Alumna of the Year.
Pro-Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, fellow members of the University, graduands, honoured guests, and family members. I'm quite commonly asked what I studied at university in the hope that it sheds light on how I became a producer of Olympic ceremonies. When I reply that I read religious studies, most people look at me very incredulously. They simply can't make the connection between one and the other. It's almost as if I can see, ticking over in their heads, how do box A and B connect? But therein does not lie the answer. They miss the essence of the person in attempting to join up the dots. And the essence of this person began here at Lancaster. A learning environment is extremely potent. There are inspirational sparks shooting off everywhere at all times which leave impressions in our mind. I came to religious studies not as a believer, but I left with magnificent volumes in my head of belief systems and cultures I would come to know, and of interests that stirred my mind. I had professors who were excellent and humorous communicators, and I can still recall my first essay on Buddhism, for which I received a good grade and the comment, "Well done, as in toasted bread." When I left Lancaster with my degree and a teaching English as a foreign language diploma that I'd acquired along the way, I knew I wanted to run out into the world and dive into all the experiences and cultures that I'd heard about. I believe and still believe that graduation is not a rush towards a job, but a rush towards your whole life, and the path is rarely straight. I also left understanding the tremendous power of experiences, persuasion, and communication, and am absolutely certain that these have formed the foundations of my career and have been imbued in all of my decisions. The challenge of life I've found is to build a resume, a biography, if you like, that doesn't simply tell a story about what you want to be, but it's a story about who you want to be. It's a story that's not just a collection of titles and positions, but it's a story that's really about your purpose and your essence. So how did I get to where I am now? Well, it's a very long story, and whilst I can't tell you much about it today, the important point to make is this. I look back on it knowing I've absolutely no regrets, and I look forward knowing that there's so much more to come. But I must start at the very beginning, from whence we came, which is our parents. And like many of you today, I'm lucky to have family in this audience, my sister and my mother. From my mother, I learnt that hardships can be passed and that a can-do positive outlook will get you everywhere. Indeed, it did, literally. It took me across the world, working in 5 continents, learning 5 languages, living in 4 countries, 22 years of those in Greece, with which and during which time I fell in love, bearing my 2 children, who are now at university like you in the UK. My career, throughout its trajectory, has been all about telling a story, drawing people into a shared experience that binds, captivates, and can transform perceptions. For me, therefore, in retrospect, from graduating in religious studies at Lancaster to producing the opening and closing ceremonies of the Olympic Games, all I had to do was to take a short step in the right direction on a thrilling road that has not yet ended. Indeed, I stand here today very humbled to have been given this award. It's brilliant, you're brilliant, and I wish you wonderful experiences and successes for the future. Thank you.